During this session, we'll concentrate on using a calculator. Using a calculator is part of everyday life, and we need to know how to use one in order to check calculations. This video clip will help you to use a calculator by explaining the function of each of the buttons that you will need to be using at this stage. The first thing you must find is the on-off button on your calculator. Depending on the model, this could be fairly obvious. If it's not, you may have to read your instructions to find it. Let's have a look at the keys on the calculator. The button you would use to switch on the calculator will normally have an AC in the corner. All you need to do is press it. This button can also be used if you make a mistake. If you want to add numbers together, then you put in your first number and then press the plus key. You do the same for all of the other numbers you want to add. When you want to find the total or the sum of the numbers you have, then you press the equals key. Your answer will appear on the screen above. When subtracting a number, we enter the first number, usually the largest number, then press the minus key. Next, we enter the number to be taken away, usually the smallest number, and press the equals key. This gives us our answer, and the answer is displayed in the screen near the top of the calculator. To divide, we put in the number we want to divide, usually the largest number, and then press the divide key. Next, we enter the number we want to divide by, usually the smaller of the numbers, and press equals. The answer will appear in the screen. To multiply, we enter the number we want to multiply, usually the largest, and press the multiply key. Then, enter the number we wish to multiply by, and press the equals key. The answer, again, will appear in the screen. Another important key is the percentages key. We need this to help us calculate a percentage of something. Another important key is the percentages key. We need this to help us calculate a percentage of something. Try this example. If you want to calculate 6% of 250, this is what you would do. Enter 6, then press the multiply key. Then enter 250, and then press the percentage key. You'll end up with 15. Therefore, your answer is 15%. Don't forget to add the percentage sign at the end, as a unit of measure is an important part of any test. In everyday life, using a calculator can save us time, but it is best to work out the answer for yourself rather than use a calculator. This way, you'll improve your maths skills. However, sometimes we are asked to demonstrate we can use a calculator, and calculators are very useful for checking our answers. For example, if you bought 3 tops at £19.99 each, how much would they cost altogether? Let's work it out using the calculator. Press 19.99, then the times key, then the 3, and then the equals. Your answer will be 59.97. Again, don't forget the unit of measure. As it's in pounds, put a pound sign before it. To check our answer, we can perform an inverse operation by entering the total, 59.97, and then divide it by the number of items, which in this case is 3. This would give us the cost of 1 item. Your answer will be 19.99. We also have to take note of how things are written on the calculator screen. They're not always written in the way that we want to present them. When you are writing a sum of money down, you would usually write the pounds or pence sign, like this: £1.55 or 65 pence. When you are working with money and need to key in the amount on the calculator, you cannot key in the pound and pence signs. So it'd be input like this: 1.55 or 0.65. When you read from the screen, you might read the amount of 26.25. To write this down as money, we would write £26.25 with the pound sign before it. When you read from the screen, you might read the amount 26.25. To write this down as money, we'd write £26.25. But we won't put the P on the end, we'll put a pound sign before it. If your screen showed 0.85, then we'd write this as 85 pence. Sometimes, when we're working with numbers, we get an answer like this: 24.111 reoccurring. This answer is too difficult to work with, so we count 2 places after the decimal point and forget the rest. So 24.111 reoccurring will become 24.11. However, if the recurring number is 5 or more, then we have to round the answer up. We must round up the second figure after the point. For example, if our answer was 9.666 reoccurring, then the answer would be 9.66 rounded up to 9.67. Knowing these keys also allows us to carry out more complicated calculations. For example, if you have to work out the cost of travelling to and from work every day, your calculation might look like this. It costs you £3.50 for fuel to travel to work, and the same to travel home again. So 3.50 plus 3.50 equals 7. So it costs £7 per day. However, to budget for fuel, you need to work out what it costs you per week. So we now have to multiply 5 by 5 as you work 5 days a week. Therefore, it costs £35 for fuel. Wrong. Knowing these keys also allows us to carry out more complicated calculations. For example, if you have to work out the cost of travelling to and from work every day, your calculation might look like this. It costs you £3.50 for fuel to travel to work, and the same to travel home again. So 350 plus 350 equals 7. So it costs £7 a day. However, to budget for fuel, you need to work out what it costs you per week. So we now have to multiply 5 as you work 5 days a week. Therefore, 7 times 5 equals 35. It will cost you £35 a week for fuel. We do not need to do 2 separate calculations to work out these costs. We can use the calculator to work the whole thing out in one go. This is how we do it. 3.5 plus 3.5 times 5 equals 35. Again, £35. This clip will have helped you to understand how to use the most common keys on the calculator. When you need to carry out more complex calculations, please ask your LDO or your BSDM to explain other functions of the calculator. However, as there are lots of different models of calculators, it will be a good idea to read the instruction booklet that came with it. Remember, you can view this slide as many times as you need to.